what have been like the key challenges growing to 40 people?
Well, I think one of the first things that we would say is that we waited a little bit too long to hire. And it's just like this, of course, vicious cycle of you don't have time to hire because you're really busy doing everything. But of course, if you hired, you would have more time. So we waited a little bit too long to hire.
Just because you were being cash efficient or whatever?
And
just because we were too busy, honestly. And our projections showed a certain number of employees to hire, but then our subscriber count was outpacing our projections. So we were like, oh, wow, we need people sooner than we thought. So it was a hard transition, but we have a great team of 40 now. And I'd say the other challenge is really focus. So you have so much opportunity in what you're doing, but then also in other adjacent things.
So deciding what not to do, kind of.
Focus on the metrics.
And seeing everything pop up. Like you can't, Haley and I had obviously those moments where we're like, well, we thought that we could do that someday too. And I think just recognizing that this is about execution and
so you see a competitor pop up and it was something that was maybe on your roadmap.
When it first started, of course, like when you first were copied, your first reaction isn't like, that's flattering. Your first reaction is, that's ours, right? So I think that we had those immediate reactions to say, oh, do we have to get there sooner? But what we recognize is that as we've actually grown and have now so many subscribers and are growing at such a fast pace, that this business is really challenging to execute. And that the most important thing that we can spend our time on is focusing on how to execute in this business, because we are learning so much about our customer who's already really high value. And it doesn't mean we can't cross-sell in that traditional kind of way that you do expand someday, but the more we learn, the more equipped we're going to be to cross-sell with a bigger base when we launch. So I think we're a lot more comfortable with that now. But initially it was like, we're drowning in opportunity. Everyone wants to partner with us. Everyone wants to, do this sort of model. And what are we going to do? And I think it just took us saying, things are going well. Our customer trusts us. We can't risk that.
What do you think? So some people are saying that subscription commerce is the new daily deals.
We feel kind of that way too. Like people are like, we don't know what to do. Put something in a box and charge $10 a month.
Let's pivot to subscription.
Yeah, and I think that's both a compliment. And maybe a critique. I don't know, but in the sense that maybe there's too much funding, and also with daily deals now we're seeing a lot of competitive pressure on the margins and things like and sort of not barriers to entry. Or lower barriers to entry there, and so that's what I was going to ask you. Is like, what if Amazon starts doing this or something? Or
I think that would be a challenge, but I think
they have obviously they have scale.
Yeah,
that gives them lots of
advantages.
I think
the big thing that they don't have, and what we feel really strongly about, is that having a point of view, having content, having this actual voice is why it isn't just like fun to get. We have awesome brands and amazing product that comes to you, but we really do feel like fatigue would set in if you didn't take the time to really build a whole 360 model that had a personality. And I think that's a little bit harder for large companies to do, is develop it. But not to say that that isn't something that we don't think about. But we really think that it would be very hard for someone to come in and execute well, whether they were big or small, right away. And we are growing faster and kind of motivated by, to your point, people looking at this model in order to say that we, really do have a claim over subscription retail. So
you talked about voice, and that goes to this idea of kind of mixing content and commerce.
Yeah.
We talked, we had on the show Ben Lair from Thrillist, and they started off as just a content. It was basically like cool stuff for dudes to do or something, and then realized that, hey, I have 2 million people reading this thing. I might as well start selling them stuff. And then they bought Jack Threads and expanded. And so you also have this, I guess, approach as well.
Exactly,
is that right?
and we had it from day one. We knew that it would be important for defensibility to have a voice, to have content, but that it would be also important in terms of loyalty. So if we teach our customers how to buy the products we send them, they'll go to our site to learn, they'll go to our site to watch the videos, and they'll be there when they have the inspiration to buy the product.
So the content is video?
It's video, blogs, and it's like exactly what you'd read in like an Allure magazine. Because we looked at, magazines. Women love to read about beauty in magazines, but there's no buy button there. And we wanted to bring that same experience online, but be able to capture the excitement and let them make the purchase when they are learning about a new trend or a new technique.
So is a big part of your 40-person team editorial?
A good chunk of it. I mean, we have a lot of different departments in the team because we have like a big tech team, we have customer service, we have partnerships, we have PR, we have strategy. I mean,
we feel like we're running like 3 different businesses at once. We're running an e-commerce business, we're running an online magazine, and we're running a subscription at the
And you also have inventory and things, right? I mean, you have to actually like
there's a lot of stuff involved.
There's stuff, there's small stuff, lots of it.
How's that? I mean, that's sort of unusual. Like the people we usually talk to on the show, we all deal with.
I know.
Only,
Well, trust us, when we were trying to raise money, people were like, "You have stuff."
Yeah, Adams. So no, we don't like Adams.
It's like your real mailbox, not your inbox.
Yeah.
And that actually, I mean, just to the point of like what we think is really special and why people love it is because getting stuff in the mail was something that just stopped happening in like a really fun and cool way, especially like in a surprise way. So that aspect of it has made the customers really love what we do. But yeah, it made investors nervous.
And when you think about it, we have a lot more control over knowing what people are going to buy because we're introducing the samples to them, so we know how to buy our inventory appropriately. So it's less risk there.